There's a term that we use in the UK. Actually, it's an acronym, NIMBY, which stands for Not in My Backyard. And the stereotype of a NIMBY is a white person who's either middle class or upper middle class, who comes across as very progressive, provided that none of the progressive ideas actually impact them. These are people who are all for green energy, provided that there isn't a wind farm built anywhere near their house because it might devalue it. They're all for living in a multi-faith society, but if planning permission goes in for a mosque within 50 miles of their house, they'll shut it down because most of them work on local councils. And the big one, of course, is immigration. They'll be saying, we need to welcome in all the refugees. They've come from conflicts. They haven't come from conflicts. If they've come across the channel, they've come from fucking France, where there isn't a war. And they're more than happy to flood this country with undocumented fighting age males, provided they only live among the poor people. Now, I have nothing against genuine refugees. Ukrainian women and children are welcome in the UK because, first of all, they're from a westernised Christian country. Our societies have many overlaps in our values and standards, and secondly, and most importantly, the understanding with most of them is that when that war finally ends, they want to go home. That is completely different to the Arabs and sub-Saharan Africans who come across the channel every day and throw away their documents. They aren't coming here fleeing a conflict. Like I said, they're coming from France. And if I were a refugee, God forbid, I would hang on to my documents for dear life so that when I got to the country of refuge, I could present my document and say, this is me. This is why I'm here. I'm seeking refuge until whatever conflict it is over, or I will become a citizen of this country. I am not a danger. I am not a criminal. The people who throw their documents away don't want us to know who the fuck they are. But the NIMBYs now have a new queen. Her name is Rachel Millward, and she's the deputy leader of the British Green Party. Now, not many people know this, but the Green Party were originally the British Communist Party. And just like communists, they're full of fucking hypocrites. Here's part of a recent speech.
There will be a day when we sit our grandchildren on our knees and we tell them, first they came for the immigrants. So we hung out flags from all the nations and we said, refugees are welcome here.
What she's doing there is paraphrasing a very famous poem, and bugger me, I can't remember the title of it. But it was published in 1946 when the horrors of the Holocaust fully came to light. The English translation roughly begins, first they came for the communists, and I said nothing because I am not a communist. Then they came for the socialists, and I said nothing because I am not a socialist. And it carries on until it gets to the end where it goes, and then they came for me. The implication being there was no one left to speak. So very honourable. But our Rachel lives in Sussex in a place called Crowborough. A leafy suburb, the sort of place that Americans think Britain looks like. She lives in a house with 6 bedrooms and a swimming pool valued at £1.7 million, so she's doing okay. She's married with 2 children. However, in Crowborough there is a disused army barracks, and the government have proposed using it to house asylum seekers, or rather economic migrants. So the deputy leader of the Green Party, the Refugees Are Welcome Here Brigade, is now opposing using this barracks, almost as if, and sorry if it sounds like she's a hypocrite, she's fine for poor people's children to be raped and assaulted by undocumented men, to have a mobile crime wave turn up as they ride around on their undocumented Deliveroo bikes, but now it's going to affect her, she's dead against it. But of course, it's not just about the safety of her community, it's about the safety of the poor asylum seekers. Watch this clip.
So I'm here outside the training camp where the Home Office has decided to temporarily house 540 asylum seekers. What struck me most actually from this first site visit is the stories from the Home Office staff of the asylum seekers in other sites. They're talking about surgeons and doctors and lawyers, people who come from Eritrea or Afghanistan or all kinds of different places, who really should have the right to work, to contribute to our society, to be better integrated for their own well-being and for our communities to pay tax, to be able to rent their own accommodation, to be able to get on with building their lives. We need to give asylum seekers the right to work. These camps are a political decision. We don't have to do it this way.
Doctors, surgeons and engineers from parts of sub-Saharan Africa where they haven't yet mastered bricks. But let's have an imaginary scenario. Let's say there's a guy from Eritrea, which crucially isn't at war, and he's a surgeon. Which is his best option? Does he apply to Britain for a work visa, stating his credentials and qualifications? He flies over, gets an interview with the NHS and starts working on a work visa, then applies to be a British citizen. Within 2 years, he'll be working fully qualified on £150,000 minimum a year. Or does he make his way across Europe, jump on a dinghy and throw all his qualifications over the side? A point made at a recent forum with the Green Party.
My second question is actually directly to you, Rachel. It does actually go to you as well, James. You did a video the other day, Rachel, saying that all of these people, you know, doctors and engineers and surgeons that are coming here, and we should give them the right to work. Now, firstly, engineers, doctors and surgeons do not come from France on a dinghy and throw their medical certificate overboard. It's very clear to me that you really don't understand the small boat crisis. So therefore, I'm going to say, why don't you resign, both of you, and make way for someone who understands the crisis? It's not a joke, Rachel. I'm serious. You do not have the capabilities to do this. You don't understand the small boat crisis. Step down, both of you, and let someone else take lead and actually get us what we need and represent this community, because you don't.
What smacks me is the utter fucking hypocrisy. These people do not give a shit how many people come into this country and wreck it, provided it doesn't hurt their bit. They don't care if taxes have to go up, because if you earn enough money, you can employ a smart enough accountant to get you around that problem. They're only bothered when it fucking affects them. Being concerned about mass uncontrolled immigration does not make you a racist. Being concerned about undocumented young men being around women and children does not make you a racist. Being concerned about your country changing in front of your very eyes does not make you a racist. Complaining about everyone else and calling them a racist until it affects you means you're a dickhead. Anyway, that's the end of this video. If you enjoyed it, please do like and subscribe if you haven't already. If you could leave a like, a comment or share the video, that really helps the algorithm. If you would like to support me in making these videos, then there are links in the description to buy me a coffee and to my Patreon, and as ever, thanks for watching. So the NIMBYs have a new queen. The deputy leader of the Green Party, Rachel Millwall, fucking Millwall. For anyone from outside of the UK, Millwall are a football club whose fans have a reputation for being the most violent club in Britain. Thus it is that, whilst you can complain that if a wind turbine goes up near, thus it is, why have I become fucking Shakespearean? Typically a NIMBY will be an upper middle class white person who's fine with progressive ideas, but say a wind turbine goes up near their house, they'll object to that because it may devalue their property. They don't give a fuck if it does it to anyone else's because it's not in my backyard. Then let's say so let's take a hypothetical scenario. We have a doctor from Eritrea, which crucially isn't at war. Now he, because it's unlikely a woman will be a doctor in that country, what's his best course of action? Does he get on the internet, if they have the bollocks,